Hello all my friends, welcome back or welcome to the channel. Welcome to all my new subscribers, and thank you for all the returning subscribers for continuing to come to my channel every week and support me by watching and liking my videos. Thank you so much. All right, so it's been a while since I've done a pattern review. It's just been a crazy month for the world. I hope you all are being safe, trying to do as much as you can to do your part in this social distancing. I'm grateful that me and my family are safe, and like I said, I hope you are safe as well. This week, I am finally bringing to you my pattern review of the Simplicity 8418 bomber jacket. I made this jacket in February, and the first jacket that I made it for Galentine's Day. And I did a Galentine's project with the lovely Miranda. She's on Instagram and she goes by @MaryMaker. And I made this jacket in a yellow honeycomb Ankara wax print. And I love it. I love this jacket. So this is a pattern that comes with 12 total pieces. You have two ranges of sizes that you can select. So the first envelope, you can select the size 4 to 14. And the second envelope, those sizes are 14 to 22. I selected the size 16. Now on the back of the envelope, the sizes for that, it says that it's a 38 inches for the bust, 30 inches for the waist, and 40 inches for the hips. Now, those are my exact measurements. So my bust measure at about 38 to 38 and a half inches. My waist measure at about 30 to 30.5, and my hips measure at about 40 to 40.5. So those are my exact measurements. And I can tell you that the garment is very loose fitting. I would say it has about maybe 5 inches, 4 to 5 inches of ease in the bust area, about 6 inches of ease in the lower midsection here. And yeah, so take that into consideration when you're selecting your sizes, because it is quite loose fitting on me, and I'll pop pictures in here so that you can see what it looks like. And it's particularly loose in the back, and you'll see it has a lot of fabric back there in the back. So it comes with two different views. So you have view A that has all these lovely appliques on it. The pattern does come with the appliques inside of the envelope. You don't get all of those appliques. You get this applique here that's featured on B, and that's with the little flower there. So these other appliques that are presented on A and B here, like this one with the S on it, and then this one with all of the different appliques, like the hearts and the sunflower and all of that, those do not come with the pattern. You only get one flower, and that is, like I said, this one here. The view that I did, basically I just did just a jacket without the appliques. So without the applique, it comes with 9 given pieces. With the applique, it is you get 12 pieces. So what I decided to do, so let me tell you about my first make, because that one was pretty straightforward. I cut everything, all the pattern pieces out I didn't do a mock-up because I felt like, you know, it's an oversized jacket. I keep saying oversized, but it's more like just very loose fitting. It's not drastically oversized. But I decided just it wasn't really worth doing a mock-up for because I wasn't really, it wasn't going to be a tailored look. So I just didn't decide to do the, the mock-up. So this is a fully lined jacket, but if you are an advanced beginner, do not let that scare you because really it's easy to put together. Um, I would say that this is an intermediate pattern only because it has, you know, the 9 pieces, and that is going into that intermediate phase. But like I said, advanced beginners, they are large pieces. You're working with, you know, pretty large pieces. The pieces that this pattern comes with are, it's the front, you're cutting that out twice because you have a zipper that you're placing down the center front. You have the back, which is cut on fold. You have the upper arm and the lower arm, and that's because that's a raglan sleeve, so you have 2 pieces for the arm for the sleeve. Then you have your neck band, which is going to be out of a knit fabric, and I chose a rib knit fabric, and I'll show you all those details here in a moment. The lower band is also out of the rib knit fabric. The sleeve band is also out of the rib knit fabric. And I think that is all the pieces. Oh, there's a little piece here that goes, you attach it to the knit fabric. And if you can't see it, I don't know if my camera is low enough for you to see this, but I will show it to you. But there is, right at the bottom, there's a little square piece here that you're going to attach to your rib knit fabric here. And I forget what that's called, but it's part of that lower band. It's just not the knit band portion of it. So that's another piece too. So like I said, it's pretty easy. So the lining for the jacket, you're going to cut out the same exact pieces for the lining as you did with the shell of the garment, minus the bands. So that's basically all that you do. And you sew those pieces together. You sew the front to the back, the upper sleeve to the lower sleeve, and then you attach the sleeves, the neck band, the lower band, and then you attach the sleeve band. It's pretty simple. It's not a hard project at all. And I actually enjoyed working with this project. Now, so there are a few things that I forgot to mention while I was making this video, and the first is the size. So that's really important. So the size that I selected for this garment, I selected a size 16 for both jackets. I have found that that size is really great for me. The tissue paper have the finished measurements listed on the front of the pattern, and for size 16 is 44.5 inches. And I find that those measurements are really great for me, especially because I am the type of person who likes to layer underneath my jacket. So I like to put sweaters underneath my jackets, and even, you know, maybe smaller jackets as well underneath my jackets, just in case I don't want to have like a big bulky coat. Sometimes I'll put a fleece underneath my jacket. So I think that is the perfect size for me because my bust measures at a 38.5 inches, and I usually have about 3 or 4 inches of ease for my jackets. But for this one, I did a little bit more of like 6 or 7 inches of ease, and I find that that is perfect for my needs. So I wanted to mention that, and the measurements are listed on the tissue paper if you need a guide to be able to select the size. And I have found that they are pretty accurate. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is how I top stitch my yoke pieces. So I top stitched the yoke front and the yoke back, and I'm going to show you what I did. So here is the the cotton side of my reversible jacket. And as you can see here, right along the line here where the two yokes meet, I did a line of top stitching going across the front and also across the back as well. So that's what I did with my jacket, and without further ado, I'll go ahead and let you watch the rest of the video. For the notions, the only thing that you need for this project are thread and a zipper. That's it. Now, I selected for my first project, I made that project with a separating zipper, and that's what the pattern calls for. It's just a regular separating zipper that allows you to open your jacket all the way up so that you can get in and out of the jacket. For my second jacket, which is the jacket that you see on this dress form, I used a reversible zipper because I made the jacket reversible, and I'll talk a little bit about my my process and everything that I did with this jacket because it's a little bit more detailed than the first. And as you can see, I did some color blocking as well. So I'll talk about how I created my yoke pieces and all that as well. So for my first jacket, I just want to talk real quickly about that. I used a printed cotton fabric, and that fabric was or is a wax print, and I purchased that from, it's an Etsy shop. I cannot remember the Etsy shop because it was a few years ago that I purchased this, and I'm finally using this fabric, but I did purchase it from an Etsy shop, and it's just a real lightweight cotton. At the time that I was making this, I had the idea that I would line this jacket with some batting so that it can give me a little bit more warmth during the later winter and earlier spring months. But that did not turn out exactly how I had hoped. And so that jacket I'm still working on, and that is the jacket that I'm going to give to my daughter because she really likes it. But for me, I just felt like with the additional weight, like with that batting, it just felt too bulky and it was too much for me because with Ankara wax print, it's already really stiff, and I just didn't want to add any more stiffness to it. So I just decided not to. Well, I'm continuing the project, but it's not for me. It's for my daughter. She doesn't mind it. And I would say if you want to add batting to your project, I would definitely go with more of like a brocade type fabric or some kind of a fabric that is not as stiff as a cotton. For the lining of the jacket, of the honeycomb jacket, I used a 100% cotton fabric, and it's just a black cotton fabric. And I chose the black cotton fabric because I wanted it to be as close to, I wanted the fibers in that lining to be as close to the fibers in the shell of the garment. So the fabric for the shell of the garment. So that's why I chose the cotton for the lining. For this jacket here, this one, it's a little bit more, so remember when I told you that I wanted to initially put batting into the jacket? Well, instead of putting batting into the jacket, I decided to make a reversible jacket, and for the reversible side, I wanted a heavier fabric. So instead of doing batting, I decided to just do a fabric that had a little bit more weight to it, but that would also move the way in which I wanted it to move, and that it wouldn't be as stiff. So for this jacket, for this side of the jacket, as you can see up here, this is an Ankara wax print, and I purchased this from the same Etsy shop that I purchased the honeycomb fabric from, and I will put that in the description box below. I believe the shop is called House of Miami. So that's where I purchased these Ankara wax prints. This black fabric here is a 100% cotton fabric, so that it can be as as close to this fabric here. And this fabric I purchased from Joann Fabrics. The rib knit fabric, I used the same rib knit fabric on both projects, and this fabric I purchased at Joann Fabrics in their knitting department. So it's not anything special. It's just something that I picked up at Joann Fabrics. And the reversible side. So let's talk about the reversible side. The reversible side is a corduroy. It's a cotton corduroy fabric. Now with corduroy fabrics, you do have to pay particular attention with them because they do have a nap. And I was mindful of that when I cut out my pattern pieces for the front and the back, but I forgot with the sleeves because I did the sleeves on a separate day, and I came back, unrolled my fabric, and I forgot to check the nap. So the sleeves are turned upside down, but you can't really tell. And I'm okay with it. It's fine. I didn't have enough fabric to recut out the sleeves, so the nap is just going to be able to, it's just going to stay like that. But because it's a black jacket, you really cannot tell. Normally you can tell, but with this particular project, you can't tell. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and flip the jacket inside out so that you can actually see what the corduroy part of it looks like. And for the reversible, to make it reversible, the only thing that I did, I purchased a reversible zipper. And also, instead of attaching the lining to the garment at the sleeves and sewing the band directly onto the lining and the sleeve, I actually flipped it. I actually sewed the band portion here, one portion of the band, so the top band, to this side, and the lower part of the band to the underside, so that I can have it reversible. I hope that makes sense. So that's basically the only change that I made so that I could make this jacket reversible. Oh, before I close the video out, I want to quickly tell you about how I made my yoke pieces. And so I'm going to go ahead and go over at the cutting table and show you those pieces so that I can explain exactly what I did, just in case it's something that you want to do. So I'm going to start with the front yoke. So here's the front yoke, and this is what I did. So basically what I did, so this is supposed to be one whole piece. When you cut it out of the tissue paper, it'll be one whole piece. Now what I did is I measured from the top of the armhole area here. I measured down about 2.5 inches, and I drew a line straight across, and I cut the pattern in two. Now once I cut the pattern in two, I added 5/8 of an inch seam allowance to the bottom of the top yoke, and then I added 5/8 of an inch to the top of the bottom front yoke. So now the reason why we do that is because we cut that pattern. So in order to get the pattern back to the original size, we have to add that seam allowance there. So that's what I did for that. And notice on the pattern piece here, it says cut 2 of fabric and cut 2 of lining. So because you're going to have 2 yoke pieces, for one for the left side and one for the right side, and then you're going to have the same for your lining, one for the left side and one for the right side. And you do the same for all 4 pieces, for these 2 pieces here, as well as for the 2 back pieces. So I did the same thing for the back. So this is supposed to be one whole piece when you cut it out of your tissue paper here. I measured 2 inches from the armhole area, about 2.5 inches downwards. I drew a line. I cut the pattern on that line, and then I added 5/8 of an inch seam allowance to the bottom back yoke and 5/8 of an inch seam allowance to the bottom top half of the yoke. So yeah, that's basically what I did for this jacket pattern to create my yoke piece for the front and the back. So that pretty much sums up this week pattern haul video. I hope you found it informative or helpful. If you did, please make sure that you hit the like button and comment below and leave me all your thoughts and your comments down below. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you all next week. Things have been going crazy with, this pandemic going on. So I have been scaling back a little bit, refocusing on family, and also trying to keep my house in order with the kids home. Please make sure that you be safe. Please be safe. I cannot stress that enough. And practice social distancing. I hope to see you all in the next video. And until then, my friends, stay creative.